Today you'll hear first from me, then from Simon Barnes, the Treasurer, in relation to the financial reports, Mark Everest, regarding business matters arising through Secretariat and resolutions that we're here to agree at the AGM. Amy Berry will then speak regarding her experiences in her first year chairing the Young Professionals Group. And then, for those of you who are here for the CPD, Tom Alcock. Where's Tom? There he is. He's very elusive, very difficult to spot. Tom will then host the regulatory panel, and we're delighted to introduce Mike O'Hagan, the FCA Head of Runoff, and Annabin Chowdhury from PwC, previously Senior Manager of the London Markets Runoff Supervision Team at the PRA. I'd like to thank our members and the board for the work and the interest shown in Irla this year, and the amazing performance of the legacy insurance and reinsurance markets in 2018-19, a year of growth undoubtedly for legacy deals, legacy capital, legacy press coverage. It's also been a great year for Irla. We've grown our education, training and events this year. We've had more of you attending those events. In our 20th year we provided a significant donation to our charity of choice, Mind, following a series of events. Most thrillingly for those watching, the eye drop. Those taking part, I don't know how you did it, but it was amazing. This year we'll be supporting Alzheimer's UK and Young Minds, and please do look out for events relating to that charity, and we'll obviously try and beat the target we've set ourselves. I'm sure that will come up in the discussions later. I'd like to thank our speakers across the year for the quality of their output and your responses to the questions and the debates that they engendered, and a metaphorical toast for the camaraderie and bonhomie on display at our annual dinner and social events across the year. You will have noticed that as an association we've increased our focus on diversity and inclusion. We're recognised as a friendly and welcoming society. You will have seen that we've now got a code of conduct for our social events, and you will have also seen our support of Lloyd's in seeking to remove the last vestiges of outmoded thinking in the marketplace. We all have a duty to work on unconscious bias, and I'll give you a quick example. You're looking at a somewhat follically challenged, bespectacled, besuited insurance executive who you may consider to be something of a stereotype. Stereotypical thinking is dangerous. We're all individuals and meant to be treated as such. I commend your support of the mentoring scheme that we've introduced over the last couple of years, and your response to the members' survey which we've been undertaking over the last several months, including at Congress. Your input to those things both helps train the people who are asking about Irla in those surveys, and helps us define our strategic objectives. For those of you who give so generously of your time to Irla and to our wider membership to enhance and strengthen our market, I give you my personal thanks. I'll now see the Chairman's report, emphasising 4 key areas that have received your feedback and which we believe are the strategic imperatives for Irla. Firstly, development of legacy as a career through the mentoring, networking and education that we're able to provide through Irla. It's completely apparent that the breadth of skills and services, technical, financial, marketing, pricing, are skills that now sustain a whole career in development from people first coming out of school and university through examination and beyond. And then a second strategic objective for us is the development of legacy solutions and services for the future. Again, the scope and breadth of the transactions that have been undertaken in the market recently, it's apparent that we need to continue to test ourselves, stretch ourselves and provide new transaction opportunities in the marketplace, and also to continue to develop with the regulatory authorities the ability to transact that business around the world. We're engaging in that debate, and I'll speak a little further on that in a moment regarding some of the working groups that we're setting up to consider these matters. We're a not-for-profit limited company. We had a great trading year this year, and Simon will outline in forensic detail for many hours the report and accounts, but it's important that we don't accumulate too much of a surplus as Irla, nor sustain losses on our self-financing events. Maintaining a reasonable surplus does enable us to pre-plan. It enables us to have a great set of events ready for ourselves next year, but the surplus is not a means nor an end in and of itself, and it's not something that we intend to maintain at levels which are not aligned to our objectives. I believe it's the pro bono work of the people that support Irla that multiplies the value of the subscriptions that we pay in to be members of the association, and I think it really is quite incredible what we achieve when you actually look at the size of the funds that we have available to us. So as a society, again, thank you very much to our members. In line with that strategic review, and I think we can just remind ourselves of those here, and thank you for moving the slides on, it's very kind of you. We took a strategic review in July at the board with the benefit of the members' views and how we might further support the legacy community. And we've committed to developing new working groups. And if we can just flip forward one. So we've got, in blue, we have standing committees, YPG Committee, Learning and Development Committee, Membership and Communications Committee, all working to the board, and the newly formed Legacy Committee, which I'll speak to in a moment. But we've also created a Tomorrow's Legacy group under the guidance of Andy Ward, a Broken Community and Lloyd's working group with the assistance of Darren Truman, and an international working group under the guidance of Mark Hallam. We're looking for members to join these groups, and with guidance from the board members to develop ideas, generate debate and create events. I'm hopeful that the board members actually will step back from those working groups over time, and the members will actually generate more interest by and of themselves in order that we can then, as Irla, support those initiatives. Our member strength has almost tripled since Irla was formed. Congress attendance since moving to Brighton 6 years ago has more than doubled, and at the end of the last membership year we had 42 full members, 43 associate members and 11 sole traders, and on our contacts list we have just short of 1,700 individual members listed. Members joining in the last financial year alone, which I will list, are Willis Towers Watson, BLM Law, DWF, Wilkie Farr and Gallagher, Markel International, DAC Beechcrofts and Plexus Law, only I think yesterday confirming, following the good work of Jenny. We have new associate and overseas members, including Grant Thornton, Munich Re, Predicat, Azicuri Asiani Generali Italy, Carter Becker Winter, Barclays Bank, Lonnie Stewart Holland, and two sole traders, Biro Julius Bannister and David Rooney. It's a fantastic testament to Irla and to the work of Jenny Fair, my deputy chair and our membership ambassador. Her tireless work helps maintain the existing membership and expand our influence across both the UK and the globe. Any help that you can give to Jenny to fill in some of the obvious gaps that we have in our membership. There are one or two companies who seem to feel that legacy, although they are legacy, isn't for them via Irla, would be really greatly appreciated. I think being able to speak with one voice and you know, take a strong market position is really important in the legacy space. It's how we generate interest and ensure good behaviour. Our primary concern is to advance the interest of our members, and in the insurance and reinsurance legacy sectors from the UK, European and worldwide markets. We do this by supporting development of professional standards and learning, and by promoting best practice in the sector. You're probably aware that we're CII accredited, and a lot of the work that we do in education and training is provides CII points. We're also working with the CII to see whether we can start to create some examination material which is legacy specific. Ed Good has been helping us with that. We're also sharing expertise amongst the companies that are in legacy and keeping members informed of developments in legacy business management. You like the e-shots that we put out, and we actually have had some feedback to suggest that you'd like to get to know the members of the board better. So future events we will seek to have board members actually running slightly more from a personal perspective, what they've seen, how they enjoy working in, and the benefits they get from working in legacy. Reports. When we're working for Irla, we're working for the market, our associates, clients and stakeholders, not specifically for our own brands. We're careful not to take sides, not to promote personal views of the material or issues that arise, but seek to understand the subtle shifts and emphasis and the true picture of the environment in which we're currently working. We promote honesty, fair dealing, best practice, market stability, fair competition and security. When we speak on behalf of the market on key issues, we as Irla canvass opinion and give consensus view. So Irla really tries to centre itself as a voice of legacy, but not on a branded basis. I want to talk a little bit about the training that we offer. Leslie Ann Giovanelli heads up our academy. We delivered 55 hours of CII accredited training, 15.75 of those roughly were free of charge to members. 94% of the respondents on those courses said that they gained work assistance from the courses they attended and helped with their working role. I'd like you to, as members companies, to expand and update your employees on our Irla database, because that's really in consideration of the amount of free training and materials that are available to them, so that your businesses obtain the best possible benefit from the networking and opportunities that Irla provides. Your companies are much bigger than the database we hold, so we're here for anybody that you put up on those lists, so it's really well worthwhile extending them. Regarding our international members, we're delighted to have continued to expand into continental Europe. The second breakfast briefing held at the Monte Carlo Rendezvous this year. That was extremely well attended, and I think second year in there was a real excitement and buzz about the legacy aspects that meeting was able to satisfy. Training event took place in Cologne last March, and we've had confirmation that the Munich event will be repeated next year. We've also instigated the Southeast Asia event in conjunction with the Singapore Insurance Institute, and strengthened our relationship with AirRock, the only US-based non-profit association similar to ourselves, focusing on legacy in America. These are areas for further development, and we do seek your support and your views as to how we can develop our influence further in those areas. Again, it's by and for the membership that Irla does its work, and your information to us helps us create those opportunities. Racing through to about halfway now. No, I'm getting towards the end. Irla has now constituted the Insurance and Reinsurance Legacy Committee, chaired by Ian Harvey of Pro. It's a limited company, and it funds itself, so membership subscriptions to the wider Irla are not denuded by the Irla Committee. We're working with the ABI and live insurers to provide a direct legacy view in respect of current matters arising in important areas. We have obtained core participant status in the second phase of the inquiry into child sexual abuse, which is considering its response to limitation and redress. And we are also interested in other matters relating to legacy issues, such as guidelines in respect of time on risk sharing, of exposure in respect of diseases such as mesothelioma. What we're really seeking to ensure is that as business is transferred from the live market into legacy, we continue to behave as a market and respect the time on risk arrangements that are in place for those types of diseases. This is not for everybody, but if you do want to be involved in that, you can speak with me, you can speak to Ian, or you can speak to the Secretariat and become involved. Funding is pro rata to those on the committee who wish to be involved in particular areas. Sometimes we do need some legal support, some counsel's advice to support some of the thinking that we have in these areas, and that is carried by the members in the committee who are interested on those specific subjects. Amy Berry will shortly talk to the programme's successes and challenges of the Young Professions Group. I will simply note here that this is one of the most important facets of Irla, and the legacy market and within the legacy market, and the YPG continues to grow and currently has 395 members, which is excellent news. This is the future of our industry. We will continue to focus on promote and support the development of our young people and professionals, with the confidence that legacy is now able to sustain entire careers. In respect of the mentoring scheme, and I'm sure this is something that will be echoed by Amy, I would add from the mentees side, from the YPG side, please do get involved. We have a very, very strong panel of mentors who are absolutely keen to help people if you have questions in relation to your career, technical questions, or other matters of your personal development. I'd like to finally to express my thanks to the Irla board for their continued work and their dedication over the last year, especially Jenny Fair, the Deputy Chairman, Simon Barnes, the Treasurer, Mark Everest, the Company Secretary, and also to AMS and the Secretariat under the guidance of Leslie Ann, with whom, without whom collectively Irla would be so much the poorer. Finally, before handing over to Simon for the Treasurer's report and any questions, I'd also like to thank Paul Corver for his last 10 years as your chairman, and his fantastic dedication and commitment. When ARC became Irla, this society was struggling to maintain itself, and now we're a very vibrant and relevant organisation, and a lot of that is down to Paul Corver's very hard work. Under my chairmanship, I hope to provide the association and you with all that you need to create opportunities, development and sustainable prosperity as part of our legacy community. Thank you very much. So if there are any questions, please do feel free, and if there aren't, we can move on to the Treasurer's report. Thank you very much.
Okay. You to sit down. I have a lot of numbers to remember, so I hope you won't mind if I'm sat here and I'm reading a little bit from the script. However, we have produced a couple of slides just to make it a little bit more digestible, so hopefully it won't be too bad. I'm pleased to provide an update of Irla's financial performance for the past 12 months. A deficit of £14,488 against a budgeted loss of £39,438 was made for the financial year 30th of June 2019, which has reduced the association's total reserves from 117,805 to 103,317 over the same period. I'll come back to the deficit piece. It's something that Stephen was talking about earlier. It was agreed to run at a budgeted loss for the year in order to seek to reduce reserves by funding additional free of charge training events, an overseas event in Cologne, hosting a breakfast briefing at the Monte Carlo Rendezvous. There was also the 20-year anniversary initiatives. These included the end of year party being vamped up to include bowling. I hope you remember that one. And actually it's being repeated this year. Development of the Irla YPG logbook, which I hope the YPG members are making some use out of. A Meet the Mentor event, and a start has been made on an Irla Legacy ebook. We also purchased a new video camera and microphone equipment, which was to improve the quality of the training events that we had. If anyone has been on the website, you'll see a significant change between how the videos were and how they are, so hopefully we've got that benefit. There was also a subsidy of the Irla Golf event. That was the last of the 20-year anniversary events which took place in the current financial year. I want to talk a little bit about the 20-year anniversary fundraising. The total that we raised was £16,941 and included the i360 iDrop, which totaled £8,349. The congresses in 2018 and 19 raised £3,546, and the members' annual dinner prize drew £2,180. Last but not least, Robina's Wind Walk, for those who can remember that, raised £1,616. So congratulations to everybody who participated in those events, and I think that was a fantastic achievement for the Mind charity. Our budget for the financial year ending the 30th of June included a prudent provision for a surplus of £35,838 for the Irla Congress, as more was fitted into the programme, particularly with the expansion of events into the Monday, plus allowing more YPG members to attend at discounted prices. I hope people saw that actually we had a lot more young people at the event, and I think not only did they enjoy it, but I think the rest of us enjoyed having some youngsters around. I'm pleased to report the surplus was much higher than anticipated and came in at £51,816, and I think that emphasises the continuing popularity and the success of this event. The success of Congress is not guaranteed, but Irla's finances are heavily dependent upon it, so we are delighted that the amount of hard work that AMS in particular does in organising the event and in marketing the event, attracting new attendees and trying to negotiate the cost higher, has resulted in such a success. The members' annual dinner was a further success and resulted in a surplus of £7,123, being £3,799 over budget. I don't know if you're probably not aware, but a couple of years ago we used to run that at a deficit, but the change of event and the increased popularity has meant that we actually make a surplus there, which is good news. The other members' event spend was £56,937 over the year, which ultimately was about £10,000 over budget, and that included free of charges member training events, including 4 breakfast briefings, 4 linked learning sessions and 5 London Market introductory sessions. Subsidised members' networking events included the New Year quiz, crazy golf, wine tasting, and free for members were the summer barbecue and the end of the year party, plus 3 networking drink sessions, 1 specific for the YPG. The income for the Irla Academy was £3,854, which was above the budget of £3,000. And the membership subscriptions for this past year were £90,894, and that's a small increase of £143 from the previous year. This was over budget, thankfully, by £2,849, despite losing several members due to mergers and acquisitions and a number of changes. However, we were successful in getting the new members, which is great. You'll note that for the first time in 9 years we have included an inflation increase into the 2019-20 subscriptions, and I'm very pleased that the membership has responded so positively. The subscription income we set at £90,000 for the next 12 months, and we have already exceeded that by above £8,000, so great news. In the presentation at last year's AGM, it was reiterated that as a not-for-profit organisation, Irla should not continue to stockpile reserves and should seek ways to invest in the organisation and give more back to our members. We've tried hard to be inventive with the reserves contributed by the Congress in 2019 and through the 20th anniversary, and I'm pleased that we followed through with that aim, and as we have seen, we were able to subsidise well-received events on the continent and provide a number of other subsidised events and courses as outlined earlier. The continued success of Congress has put us in a great position to continue this approach for the coming year, and accordingly the 2019-20 budget has been set at a loss of £39,438, which also includes supporting the Irla Legacy Committee during its setup, though it will be repaid, and also the overseas events and in Germany and a little bit in Asia. It will be used to subsidise more member discounts and benefits throughout the year. Our reserve position remains strong, and with the continued profile of the legacy business in the market, at present we believe the association will continue to be financially sound for the foreseeable future. Copies of the year-end financial statements are with me now. I'm not quite sure where they are, but they'll be there, and will be found on the members' website. Last but not least, I'd like to say a big thank you to Andy Ward, he's hiding at the back, who stepped down as Treasurer after last year's AGM, having served 7 years, leaving the finances of the association in a very healthy position for the future. Andy continues to sit on the Financial Advisory Committee along with James Bolton and myself, and I'm very grateful for the support they bring. Can I also thank the Secretariat team at AMS, especially Robina Robinson, for all their work on the accounts and budgets, which makes the finance advisory role that much more straightforward. With that, I'd say a quick run through on the finances. Happy to take any questions that people might have. One thing you might just, I'm a little bit off script, but I'd like to point out is the funds that we have. We are well funded, but you'll see from the graph that's on the screen that the cash flow goes up and down during the year. And one of the reasons why we have to maintain a significant amount of funds is so that we can afford to pay the fees for things like Congress and other matters as they arise, rather than waiting for the cash to come in. And so we will be left with a surplus throughout the year. Okay, any questions? Stunned silence. Right, well in that case, Mark, do you want to...
Just in case this has any effect, I'm not convinced it does. I'm going to sit down I'm not full of statistics, I've got lots of facts and figures, a few things that you've already heard before. Perspective, so we'll just move the slide forward once. Have one single slide. I'm going to sit up straight and try and boom my voice so everyone can hear at the back. So I'm going to start off by echoing Stephen and Simon in thanking Secretariat. It's particularly important in the context of the company secretary's role. Thank you for your help over the year, and thanks for all the statistics in this report. The Membership Communication Committee and Jenny in particular have been busy this year coming up with new ways to interact with members and to make sure that members are aware of all the benefits available to them from their membership. The second official annual report has been published this year, and again that's available on the website and on the Irla app. More of that in a moment. The YPG logbook has been created this year for the young professional members, and Amy is going to speak about that in more detail in her section later. Irla e-shots are being sent up to 3 times a week, containing market news and information about Irla events. If you're not receiving them, please do let Secretariat know. And please check that the Irla Secretariat web address is not blocked in your contacts, and that MailChimp, from where our e-shots are sent, is approved. All important stuff. The Irla app has over 600 users, which is great. That's just thinking of how many named contacts we have. We're getting towards 1/3 of people who've got the Irla app, and that's great, and it's come in very handy in interactive participation in Congress. Please do follow us on social media and have a look at the app if you haven't already done so. This is my particular favourite. Secretariat office opening hours, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. Excellent. Emails are dealt with promptly and quite often outside office hours. And the office is closed for 2 weeks at Christmas, and Leslie Ann asks for your patience during that period. This year's annual dinner is taking place on the 14th of November. Great for me to promote it, but unfortunately if you haven't got your ticket, it's already sold out with 270 people in attendance. Congress 2020 is in Brighton again. It will take place over 3 days from the 18th to the 20th of May. Panels, presentations and meetings, bigger and better than ever. You can register your interest, and the registration page is going to open soon. I suspect even this afternoon, and it's even hotter off the press, it's now open. So book early. We sold out last year, and this year we've got the whole hotel, so it's going to be a fantastic event. I think there were probably six outside punters from last year who had an interesting stay at the Grand when we were there, but this year we've got the whole hotel. So CPD accredited courses, they've started off with the ever popular Introduction to the London Market and Lloyd's Tour. Now due to popular demand, we'll be running another 4 of those events this year. London courses are now taking place at a new venue, right here, 1 America Square. The first continental European event of the year was held at Rendezvous in Monte Carlo, saw 62 delegates in attendance, and another event will be planned, as we've heard a moment ago, in Munich for October 2020. Aspirational. Now, we're hoping to hold a 3-day residential course early next year with a complete overview of insurance and reinsurance. Please watch out for further information. The end of year party, that's taking place on the 28th of November. And following great feedback after last year's event, it's taking place again at All Star Lanes, food, drinks and optional bowling. Please do register online. Also online, you can register for next year's events, and they'll include the ever popular New Year quiz, crazy golf, and in fact this time a twist on the wine tasting, a board directors led wine tasting, so watch out for that one.
That's how we're going to show you a bit more of ourselves.
Absolutely. And finally, whether you're an Irla rep or not, there's a call to action, cascading information about Irla. Please tell your colleagues about Irla events, and please do encourage them to attend. So let's move on to the formal part of the AGM. Very quickly to tell you that the report and accounts of the company for the year ended 30th of June 2019, they've been approved by the members. The final accounts can be found on the website in the members only area. 5 candidates stood for 5 vacancies on the board. You'll be pleased to know that all 5 have been elected as directors of the company. And that's Tom Alcock, me, Mark Everis, Emma Lawton, Darren Truman and Andy Ward. Final piece of business from the formality, from the formal section, is Sarah Place Accountants have been reappointed as auditors of Irla. Thanks very much.
I should just mention we've actually expanded the size of the board slightly and can do so again under our articles. We want to be as inclusive as possible. We're also running or trialling some proxies to come to the board. The board always has to be correlate with elected directors, but we want to get some more diversity and some younger members coming through to see how the board operates and understand what the board does in relation to an association such as Irla. I've certainly nominated someone from my business in order to sit in and work with me to understand how Irla operates, and I know some of the other directors have also done the same, and I'd exhort those directors to further, wherever possible, with mentoring and with bringing along other people from your businesses into the board and Irla functions so that we can develop ourselves forwards. Thanks, Mark. Yes, I believe. Amy Berry, everybody.
Thank you. So hello to those that don't know me. I'm the current chairman of the Young Professionals Group, and I have been so for just a bit over a year now. So I'm going to talk about what I've learned in that kind of the first year and a bit about what we represent, which is actually helpfully on this nice banner, which I've just noticed. What our key initiatives are, which have kind of already been mentioned a bit throughout the other talks, and also another plea to get involved. So kind of an overview of how the first year has been. As Steve has mentioned, the Irla membership has grown and the YPG membership has grown with it, which is great. And we talked about the fact that there have been the most YPG that we've ever had at Congress this year, and I think everyone's fed back that it was really great to have the YPG there. They kind of they brought a lot to it, and I think they all got a lot out of it as well. We've launched our logbook, which has already been mentioned as well, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a moment as well. We've also formed what we've coined our ambassador group. So this is really a key YPG contact within every company, and what they're there for is to spread the messages of the Irla YPG, so encourage people to come along and attend events, get involved in our initiatives, and also to gather feedback and ideas from the wider YPG that can be fed to the committee, and we can then act on those ideas. So that's something we've really been pushing, and we'd like to see how that group continues to develop as time goes on. We've had excellent feedback and attendance at all of our YPG Link and Learn events. and continue to do so. And we're also offering more than we ever have done, which is something that we're really, really proud of, and we're going to continue to try and offer more and more as time goes on. One of those things that we offer, and that's been mentioned, is the mentoring scheme, and that's something that we that's something that we're really proud to be offering, but that we have seen some challenges around in terms of getting the YPG group to really engage in that and to seek out the mentors. So we offer all of these really great mentors, really experienced people within Irla, but I think there has been a little bit of a challenge getting YPG to go and approach those people and feel confident about that. Now we've tried to overcome that. We've offered the Meet the Mentor event. We did some speed mentoring at Congress, which I know was really positively received, and actually some of the YPGs came away from that event with a mentor, which was great. We've also tried to seek feedback on kind of what's stopping some people, going for the mentoring scheme, and I think all of those things combined have now started to have an effect, and I guess some recent feedback that I've heard suggests that more mentors are being taken up on their offer of support and guidance, which is really great to hear. So I just thought I'd put this slide up. So I asked the committee to come up with 5 words or phrases that they think represent the Irla YPG, and this is sort of some of the themes. And you can see there's some consistent themes around learning, offering of opportunities, networking, both within the YPG and wider Irla, and about the YPG being the future of legacy. And I think these are all really representative of us as a group. Just focusing in on some of the key initiatives. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about the logbook, which we launched this year. So a lot of hard work went into this, and it's available to download on the YPG section of the website. So this is an area of, it's a book, a document that really showcases everything that the Irla YPG has to offer in terms of events and initiatives. It's also a place where the YPG can record things that they've participated in, things that they've done. So this could be, attending a networking event, writing a blog, going to a mentoring session, that sort of thing. So all of that can be recorded, and there's also a chance for there to be, chance to win prizes at the end. So depending on how much you've participated in or contributed, there's a chance of them winning prizes. So that the deadline for that is March 2020. So I'd really encourage everyone, all of the YPG, to take advantage of that asset and get involved to win some prizes. I've already touched on the mentoring scheme quite a lot, but I'd mention again it's really something that we want to encourage. It's such a valuable tool. We've got so many experienced people within Irla that are willing to give their time, and we really think that's a worthwhile resource for the YPG. The Link and Learn events, which we talk a lot about, always advertised via our e-shops and on the website. And likewise the networking and social events, which we want to do a lot more of because we know how much they're valued. And just key contacts, so that's my email address there, Deputy Chairman Dan, so you can always contact him for information as well, the YPG Secretariat, YPG webpage, and the Irla LinkedIn group. Any questions?
I have a question.
Excellent.
Are you getting the support you feel you need from the board and the wider Irla community?
Yes, I think the answer to that is a resounding yes. I mean, obviously I come to the board meetings and get a chance to air views, give my opinion on things, bring things from the YPG committee to the board, and that is a really useful way for me to do that. Obviously I feel like I can contact anyone within Irla for support, so absolutely yes.
Thank you.